Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to understand a very important question from the Leetcode is design a food rating system. So this question is based on Google interviews. Basically, when you will get the interview calls from the Google, you will see the problem like this. Okay. So after these rounds, let's suppose the very first round, you will get selected if you uh, write the better code. Okay. So let's try to understand here. Okay. So very first, the question saying design, right? And if you go here in the code, right, class, you will see the skeleton of the class we have given and function signatures we have given, the method signature we have given, right? And you have to implement it. For instance, let's talk about this method. This method is saying food rating, where you will be given foods in the string array. Then you have a cuisines and the ratings. These are the things we have given, and you have to rate it. The food rating, you have to initialize the object, right? Now to change the rating, you have food new rating. Okay. And similarly, you have highest rated and the cuisine you have given. As you can see, if there is food and there is new rating, it means what? It gives you the hint that there is a food and each food have its rating, means there is a key value concept, means here we will get what? Has map, right? Because it's a hazing technique that gives you, if you know the food, we can find its rating, right? We can update its rating. So now you will understand this will go where? It will go on the map, because here we have key and here we have value, right? Similarly, it is saying the highest rated. If you have the cuisine, you give me the highest rating. Okay. It means what? It means we have to use the has map, where if I'll pass the cuisine name, I can get its highest rating. Understand what is the rating of this cuisine? Okay. So the question is this, how we will understand? To understand that, when we go through the problem, you should try to understand what we have given. Okay. And you can implement it. But before coming to here, you should also go through the statements that we will talk here. So very first, I'll suggest please pause this video and try to go through the statement. Otherwise, let me complete. So the question saying that design a food rating system that can do the following. Very first, modify the rating of a food item listed in the system and return the highest rated food item for a type of cuisine, and implement the food rating class that we have seen just now in such a way, like let's suppose the food rating classes having a food rating class have a constructor and it initializes the system. Understand? Means it gives you all the values when you write the when you create the object. So this what you call for parameterized constructor, we will call to create the object of the rating class. Okay, food rating class. The food items are described as what? Foods, cuisines, and rating, and that you can see here, right, in this constructor, and all of which have a length of n, and its length is n, that will be given. So let's suppose food at I is the name of the ith food. Okay. Similarly, for the cuisine, the ith would have a type of cuisine. Cuisine at I is the type of cuisine of ith food, and rating is the initial rating of the ith food. Understand? This is what we have given in the argument when we create the object of the food rating class. Now what we have given? We have given another method. As we have seen, there is a food and there is a new rating. To change the rating, right, we have given these two things. Means change the rating of the food item right? We have given. And similarly for this method. So we have to return the name of the food item for this highest rating, has a highest rating for the given cuisine. If there is a tie, return the item of the item with the lexicographically smaller. And you know what is lexicography smaller, you can get from here. So let's talk about this example. Okay, so this is what we have given, right? This is the highest rating food we have given, and this is what the values we have given here, right? These are the you can say three things we have given, right? You know that very first we have given from here to here, where it is gone. Very first what we have given, the food rating we have given, right? If you go here in the method, very first we have food we have given, these are the foods. So we can say you will get the, let's suppose we have given from here to here, you have given a food, right? And then you have given the next thing we have given is cuisine, then we have given its rating, like that we have given. Okay, means very first food ratings, highest rated, highest rated, change rating, means these are the operations you have to perform, right? Like we can say that. So let's talk about very first we have given the food ratings. When we call about the food ratings, you have to create the object, right? How will you create the object? You know that you have to call the constructor, and the constructor you have to pass what food, then you have to pass what we call cuisine, and then we have rating. This is what you have to write, and then you have to find the highest. If we'll call the food rating dot highest Korean, it should return there, right? Like this we have given, means what is the rating of the Korean. Then we have to find for the Japanese, you have to find for the Japanese, like that. These are the foods we have given, and you have to find its rating. I hope you understand, right? Don't focus much on this one, right? For now you just try to understand that we have to create the first object, and the first object we can get the word food. How you can get the food from here, then you can get the cuisines here, right? From here to here by here, right? And then you can get the rating, like, and similarly for others. Okay, so try to implement it. This is what we have given, and you have to implement it. Okay, if you talk about the complexity, complexity is very important, right, to understand. This is a constraint we have given, and if you see, it is saying all the string in the foods are distinct, and food will be the name of the food item in the system across to call the change rating. This is that we have discussed. So we can say you can consider this constraint also in your mind, and then you can write the code. Okay, let's go back to our code, how we are going to implement it. So let's try to understand from here what is my approach that we are going to use, right? So what we should do, very first, you know that the cuisines we have, right? So we'll take the table and we'll say pre-cuisines heap we will create. Let's suppose the initial array we have given is, we have given foods, we have given cuisines, and we have given returns, right? Ratings. So we'll say the food we have given like this, right? And each food contains their cuisines, we can say, and similarly their rating is there. So what we will do, very first we'll take the two maps. What are the maps are there? Very first we'll create one map that is called the food to cuisine, where we'll have each food will be mapped by the cuisine. As you can see, right? If we will say, okay, what is kimchi? Kimchi is a Korean or Japanese. So we'll say directly we have to map it, right? Because this is another array. This is another array. This is another array, right? So we have to map it, right? Very first, what we will do, we'll create a map, right? This map will look like how, like this, where if we know the index at 0, what we have kimchi, similarly with this one. So these are called the map, right? And this is what we have given. So what we will do, we'll call the map, and or this will be our key and this will be our value. Okay, and then if you say map dot get key, right, we can get the value. It means I know if the map will call the food name get kimchi should return the Korean. Understand? So this is what we are going to do. Okay, so another will create is the food rating, right? So this food rating will also contain like this. Let's suppose we have a map, we have a key, and we have value, where let's suppose kimchi is there and its rating is there, miso is there, we have here a rating is there, we have sushi is there, we have the rating is there. Like that, if you know we have these from the three arrays, we have to create these two maps. Okay, so now this is what we have to initialize the two maps, right, for the mapping. So for each question we keep a priority queue that orders entries by its rating, right, in the descending order. So you know the priority queue basically its benefit is that if we have the queue, let's suppose like this, we can say, so you can store the all the orders entry in this, right, like this we can say, and based on the rating, right, rating will say descending order, right, and you can find, let's suppose 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, like that we have. So we can say the biggest rating is the highest priority, right, because in the priority queue if you save here, so based on that, what is your priority? So my priority is the highest rating, right, means the bigger rating. Bigger rating is what? It is the highest priority. Are you understanding? So that is why we will use the priority queue, right? Then we'll check if the rating, if the rating is equal, let's suppose with the name in ascending order, right, we will use. Let's suppose two items have the, if the two food have the highest rating, let's suppose, okay, or two orders have the highest rating, okay, two questions contains, let's suppose I'm talking about this kimchi, right, and it's have a highest rating. In that case we will use the lexicographically a smaller one. Which one is the smaller one, right, who comes the first. Understand? So very first, what I just said, we will initialize the priority queue as a contents, right, where we'll have the top listed foods. Let's suppose we have the Korean, right, and Korean have a priority queue, and the Korean priority queue, let's suppose, will store like how, let's suppose we have 9 and we have kimchi, the very first order came, then we will get what 7, and we'll say okay, sushi came, not Korean, not sushi, is a bulgogi, we can say that, okay, that came. So like that we will find the things you can get from here. Kimchi came first, then bulgogi, we can say that it came. So these are Koreans, right? So very first we'll create the Korean priority queue, right, where we'll store all the orders, right, and we'll say okay, what is in the top. So we'll say top rated is 9 and it's a kimchi one, right, so this is on the top. Similarly for the Japanese, we'll go and we'll find Japanese priority queue, right, and Japanese priority queue will store, let's suppose we have first 14 and ramen, we can say we have another order is 12, miso is there, then we have 8, sushi is there, right. So we know this is our top one, so we'll say okay, on the top we have what 14 and ramen, we can say that this is our top. Similarly for the geek, we can say, or any other, we'll say okay, what is on the top, so we'll say okay, top is on this one, simply, right. This is the order came, right, where we have On the geek priority, we have this food and this is its rating. So this is on the top. Like that, we have to do. You understand, right? What we need to do. So internally, we have to create all the cuisines priority queue, right? Based on their orders. Okay, where we can store the highest rating, biggest rating, and then we can go from there. So this is a high level pseudocode. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, where we know that in the constructor we have to create the food, cuisines, and the ratings, right? What we will do, we'll go for the loop from all. We know that this length will be n. From there we'll get a loop and we'll say, okay, start from 0 to n minus 1, right? Like we'll go and we'll assign all the values like this. Let's suppose we have food to cuisine. This is our very first map. Then we have a food to rating one, right? We'll find the rating one. Like that we will find also a cuisine, and each cuisine priority queue will contains its own cuisine priority queue, and will store the values, we can say the rating and the foods. Now we know that we have the food rating, right? Where what we will do, we can directly get food to the rating and we'll find the map and we'll store the new rating. We will update the map, right? Then we'll say, okay, what is the cuisine is there? So food to cuisine, from that map we can get the cuisine, right? And similarly for the cuisine priority queue, we'll know that, okay, let's update its rating. Okay, so this is the high level thing. You can write the code from here, right? Similarly to find the highest rating from the priority queue of the cuisine, what you will do, you will check if the priority queue is not empty until it's have the value. Keep taking the peak values, check the top rated. If it is top rated, return the top rated food, right? Highest rating. Otherwise keep polling that. Okay, this is what high level we will do. And whenever you are writing the code in front of the FANG interviews, right, or any product based company, you should go with the pseudocode and you should tell what you need to do, right? Means very first you will initialize, and you will initialize your maps and the priority queue, right? Then over the methods, if you're not telling, you can explain this also in your discussion, right? If you're not writing this one, then you can also say our highest rating. We can complete, like we can get the priority queue, and then we can write. Okay, this is what. So I'll say you pause this video from here and try the code by yourself, so you will get a good hands-on. Okay, let's try to complete here. So I'll go here and we'll start doing here. So let's suppose very first we should create the map that we will use, right? Let's suppose we should go and we'll say create the map food. So the map food is for what? Cuisine, right? We can say cuisine. Similarly, we'll say map food for map food for current rating, right? Like this. In this, we know that we'll use private, and we'll define the final. Then we'll say, okay, map, and we'll give the two values, key and values. These two things we will pass. Let's give this name as a food to cuisine, right? We can say that. Okay, similarly we will create here another method, another variable, right? Instance variable, and we'll say current rating. So we'll give the food to rating. Okay, these two things we will define, food to cuisine and food to rating. Okay, then let's talk about one priority queue that we will store, that we have talked about. Let's create that one also. Okay, so we'll say map cosine, map cosine, map cosine. We'll say this is about priority queue, right? This is our priority queue of entries, we can say entries, that each entry contains what? Rating, description we can say, and name we can say, right? In ascending order, this should be the entries should be there. Okay, let's give this name. We'll say okay, we'll write the private, but here we will change it. So this should be our, let's take the map itself, right? Because we have to take the map only. Here we will change the what you call priority queue, right? So I have already written here priority queue like this, priority queue, and this priority queue will contains a entry, right? So you have to write entry, right? Entry, and this is our cosine to priority queue. Okay, I hope you understand what are the things we need to do. Okay, as we have seen here, so we have defined photo cosine, food rating, and cosine priority queue we have defined. Okay, I have changed the name, it's fine, cosine to priority queue. Okay, very first, to store the entry in the priority queue, right? What is this entry? So we have not defined this entry. So our entry should be the rating, descript in the descending order we can say, and name in the ascending order. So how we'll do that? Let's call, we'll write a class. So this is our entry that is going to store in priority queue, and for that let's call a private static class and give this name as an entry, right? So each entry should be defined how we are going to use. So very first, it should be a food, it should be a food. Then we should write int rating, and we have our entry what, constructor we can say. We have to create the constructor, right? So to create the constructor, we have to pass these two arguments. Let's call string is a food, and another is int rating, correct? And these two we will get and will store here. This dot food equal to f, and this dot rating equal to r. Okay, this is what we need to do. Let's come to the food rating here. Okay, so now it's time to initialize these things. Okay, so we should get these things here also. I'll get this all here in the priority queue. Okay, let's remove this part. Then take this part also. Very first, these three things should be initialized, right? Like this. Let's call, to initialize this is nothing but new as map. Very simple. Okay, so these three things we will initialize. Okay, Once we initialize, we know the number of foods, right? So you can get the length. Let's suppose I'll say int n, and we'll say okay, what is the foods dot length, food length. We'll say that this is array, that you can use this one, and I plus plus we can go later. We'll say for int I 0 and I should be less than n and I plus plus. Okay, this is what we have to go. Very first we'll find the food, right? Let's call the food at where? Food at I. From the foods dot I we can get the food. Similarly for the string C cuisine, we can get the cuisine I. Then we have ratings, we can get the ratings. Let's call int r equal to ratings at I. So these things we will define. Now coming to food to cuisine, right? We have to map it, right? So to map it, you just need to do put, and one thing is a key is our food and cuisine is C. So this is our key and value pair. Similarly for food to rating, you have to define the food to rating, and you will do put, and you have to pass what? The food and its rating, you can say that. Okay, then once these are done, we have to create another for the queue, priority queue, the question queue, you can say that. And for that we have to write a logic. Okay, let's call, when we are going to find the cuisine we are going to add, so at that time we should first check if the entries is there or not. If it is there or not there, based on that you have to check. So very first check the cuisine is missing or not. Let's say compute, there is a map method compute if absent, and in that case we'll say okay, pass the cuisine, then then check, let's suppose give the name k as item, is this item is there or not. So let's call new priority queue, and for the priority queue we will define this, right? And because these are entry, right? So at this time we should call the, we should define here, let's call, we have two values, we have a and b. So this value we should check, right? How we are going to check? Let's think that in the condition give me 1 second. Very first, if we'll say okay, if a rating means first rating, means our food rating, first food rating is, you can give f1 f2 also. Okay, so let's suppose we have the very first rating is there, right? Very first rating is not equal to b rating, right? Means I want to check the rating of the food, right? A rating is not equal to b rating. Okay, if it is not equal to, you just return integer dot compare b dot rating comma a dot rating. Means using the compare method, right? What you need to do, because each method can, but because it's a object method, right? So we can get from all the object, compare method we can get, because it's a default method in the object. So you can call the compare method and you can check the two ratings. So actually basically we want the higher rating first, higher rating first, and for that you have to define it. Okay, in other cases, means if this is not the case, means we will return a dot food dot compare, and we'll pass the compare to, and we'll say okay, b dot food. So both questions we will pass, right, and we'll check the each question, right. So this is, let's suppose the question A contains the rating not equal. In that case, we will check its rating, right. Higher rating will return. Otherwise cases, we'll check the to food, right. If to food contains, right, it means what we are trying to do here is lexicography, lexicographically smaller first should be returned, and for that you have to check the food one. Okay, if both rating is not is same, right, if both rating are same, in that case not same, in that case we will return the higher rating. If both have the same, then you have to check the lexicographically uh, lexicographically small first will return it. Okay, so this is what we need to do. After that we'll come to the method, this one. Okay, so here what we have done, we have very first we have initialized everything here in the food questions method, right, and then we have got the length, and for all the foods chain where we'll get the food rating questions, these things will map our questions, right. After that we'll keep adding on the priority key if it is not available there, right. Very first we'll check each question. So very first we have to check the question is available or not. To do that, you have to check in the priority queue, and you will check, okay, let's go with the two questions. You check if both questions have the same rating, return the higher rating first. If both have the same one, check the lexicographically a smaller one, you return it. Okay, and okay, so we have not added onto the onto the if it is absent, right, means we have to add the offer, and we have to pass new entry, right, because if you not pass the, if you not offer, right, it will not go on to the uh, there. Okay, what is the food and rating. Okay, food and rating we will pass. We have the food we have, and we have rating, so we have to store as a each entry. Remember, we have created this method entries where we'll have our key is a value key, and we'll take its entry, and each entry will be stored on a priority queue. So this priority, this is a queue. On each queue we are adding a new entry. So this is our new entry where we are adding onto the queue. So very first we will check. So this is our cuisine, and the cuisine we are adding here. Okay, with its rating as an entry, as a food and its entry. So if you try to understand, you will say, okay, the cuisine, this is our cuisine name, and each cuisine will contains entry. Okay, now understand the what we call changing the rating, how we are going to change the rating. Let's talk about, very first we have the food rating. Okay, so we will update the food rating here. Let's talk about updating the food rating. So our food rating, then we'll do, okay, put, you just pass the food is coming and the new rating that we are getting. So these two things we will update onto the map. Understand, it's easy. Now we have updated the food rating, right, we can say updated the rating. Now what we will do, now we have to push new entry for the cuisine, right, remember that we are doing here. Okay, so to push on here, you have to define first. Okay, let's call, what I'm trying to say, I'm saying push new entry, and for that question cuisine. Okay, how? That's called a string. Give the name cuisine, and it will be stored here. Let's suppose we have the, what is the name on the map? Okay, so we have to get from the food to cuisine map. Okay, so from here we will get on the cuisine dot get, we will say, and return the food. Okay, then we have to define a priority queue, let's suppose. Okay, so for the priority queue you will write the priority queue here, and we'll say okay, the priority queue should have one entry, that we know that. So we'll say okay, priority queue, we'll say okay, we can get from where? The cuisine map, cuisine priority queue, just to call get method, and get, you will pass the cuisine here. You find the cuisine, it should return, right, to the get method. Once you get it from the cuisine, you just do okay, this is my priority queue, just add here. We'll do offer, and we'll pass new and entry, and this is our food, and this is our new rating. I hope you understands what I'm trying to do here. Very first, what I'm trying to do here, I'm updating the food rating, then I'm getting the cuisine name, and on the priority queue we are adding the, we are getting the cuisine name first, right? We can get the cuisine name, so you can get the priority. Actually it will, if you pass the cuisine, you will get the what, you will get a queue. Let's suppose here we are passing queue, cuisine, right? And we are adding what? We are adding a priority queue. This is nothing but our priority queue, as you can see, right? This part from here to here is nothing but what? It's a priority queue. Okay, so if you pass the cuisine name, you will get the queue name, and this priority queue we are updating again. Okay, so that was the previous one. Now we are updating with the new food and its new rating. Understand? This is why it will change the uh, queue, because on the same queue we are getting on the same queue, priority queue, we are just offering. Okay, so the same cuisine will contains a new entry, and this is our new entry. Okay, let's talk about the highest rating. So highest rating is also important. So let's talk about, very first we'll get the cuisine name like this. Okay, we can say that okay, get the cuisine name that we have just done here. So this cuisine name we will just pass here, and we can get the priority queue. Now we have to do what? Once you have this one, so we'll make a while loop, and we'll say okay, define is a true. Okay, and on here from the priority queue, you just do peak, get the peak value. Once you get the peak value, we'll say this is nothing but our, we are adding on the priority queue is what? Is an entry. So we'll say okay, this should be our entry object, and this is nothing but our top entry. So we'll say okay, highest or top, we can say, we can get from here. Now on the top should always be non null, right? Since the constant is guarantee the cuisine exists, right? In that case, if it exists, it means what? We have to check if the top cuisine is equal to null. It means what? You don't do anything, return, because it's guaranteed it should be there. If it is coming null, means do not do anything, not expected. Okay, this is not expected, but we should write the code. Okay, let's talk about the, what is our current rating. Let's say current rating equal to, the current rating we can get from where? Code to rating. You just need to call the get, and on the top, from the top entry, you just need to call the food. You will get the current entry of the food, a top rated food, right? We can say. Now on the after once you got the current rating, you just check the condition, right? Because we have to update, right? So what is the top rating? What is the top rating? If it is equal to our current rating, if it is equal to the current rating, you don't do anything, you just return it. Return top dot food. You will get the top rated food. Okay. In the else condition, you will say else condition, you just now poll it, right? Means it's outdated, discard it. Okay, this is what we need to do. So very first, what we have done, we have got the queue, because if we know the cuisine name, we can get the priority queue, and this priority queue will contains the list of entries in the queue, right? And then we have made the while loop. This while loop is for pop invalid, or we can say outdated, both should be same, outdated entries, right? Very first we will get the top element, and this is our top. So we'll say okay, the top should always be null, since constants are constants. Okay, you check the spelling. Okay guys, guaranteed cosine exists. Okay, cosine exists, what we have written is fine. Then you will find the current rating, right? And if the current rating and top rating both are same, we'll return the top rated food. Otherwise we'll say this is our outdated, and we can discard it. Okay, discard it. Okay, let me recap again. Very first, we have created the cuisine map, then we have current rating map, and we know the priority queue map, right? Priority queue map where we'll have the cuisine name and the queue. Okay, so each queue will contain entries. We can say the rating and name. Rating will be in the descending and name in the ascending order. This is our entry class that will store into the queue. As a queue, it will be an entry. For the food rating, we will initialize it, and you will get the name of the food, cuisine, and rating. We will update the food to cuisine and food to rating maps, and similarly we'll update our cuisine to priority queue, right, where we'll have the cuisine name and its entries. Okay, then on the change rating name, right, what we need to do, we'll update the new rating, we'll get the cuisine name, we get the cuisine having a priority queue. On that queue we will update a new entries, because this is a new rated. If this new rated have a highest rating, it will go on the top. And then we have the highest rating methods we have, where we have got the priority queue. Similarly, we will get the peak, we'll check if it is not null. If not null, then we'll get the current rating, we'll check the current rating is same, we'll return this food itself. Otherwise it's okay, discard it. This is what we have to do. Okay, so I'm seeing some error, let me check. Okay, so I understood why the error is coming. Very first, I think I have, okay, so guys, here we have to update. Let's suppose we have the food rating, right? It should be integer. Okay, okay, and because we are seeing, see, we are taking the entries there, we have made the mistake that we should see. So when you come down here, we were adding here. Okay, let's talk about this one. So because when we call this one, right, it should not give the error. Okay, it was coming the error here. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so new food entry, still giving the error here. So offer new and entry, and will pass food and entry. It should go right. Okay, so actually it should be 2 here, right? Because we have not closed. Let's try again. Why it is coming again here? This saying rating offering this line number 40 itself, right? Yeah. So here we have to fix. Let's suppose how we are going to do. We have the priority queue, right? So on the priority queue, we need to offer here, right? And we have to close it here. Okay. So this is what we need to do. Okay, so it's working, guys. So that's all I have in this video, and thank you guys, thank you for watching this video. Please write the comment and please share the video with your friends, and that's all. And I'll suggest keep subscribing the channel if you're new in the expert funda, right? And if you have any suggestions that you want to highlight, please highlight. And that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow.